Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jill Dvorak, and I'm the Chief Content Officer here at CommerceNext. I want to welcome you to today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining. Whether you're watching as a recording or whether you're watching this live, we do appreciate your time. Thank you. So today, as you all know, we're going to talk through delivering customer delight, how to master the post-purchase satisfaction. We have two fantastic retailers joining us, as well as an expert in the post-purchase experience who will be joining us in just a moment. So firstly, I want to get you oriented to where we are on this platform in case you're new and joining us, and I'll run through that in just one moment. But thank you to parcelLab. They are joining us both as a speaker and a sponsor today. We are really, really lucky to have experts come in with all of their client knowledge being shared today and explained, not only some best practices, but where you can kind of map yourself and benchmark yourself in the post-purchase, say that 3 times fast, in the journey. You can kind of benchmark yourself, figure out, are you in the beginning of where you should be, medium, advanced, based on vertical size, etc. I want to also thank all the CommerceNext staff who are making this webinar possible, streaming it in the background, marketing it, etc. And thank you again for joining. Every 2 weeks we do these webinars. So 2 weeks from today, right now, we have another webinar coming up. It's about personalized content and how that can essentially help commerce experiences scale. You'll see there's a great list of speakers here, retailers as well as partners. If you've missed any of our past webinars and you want to go back, you'll see, I believe there's around 200 of them now. That is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CommerceNext. So today's quick agenda I'll run through. First, we're going to have a presentation from Sowmya Murthy. She's the head of product marketing at parcelLab. Then we're going to go through some quick audience polls to figure out where we are, and then tailor our panel discussion with all of our speakers to really drive home some of those things that you vote on as where you are in your journey. Again, don't worry about missing anything. This is recorded and you can always go view it later. But if you want to, start thinking of questions you want to ask our retailers and partners. If you want to think of questions that, essentially for the audience, start putting those in to the top panel right here. You'll see Q&A. The chat is to talk to each other, and the Q&A comes over to the speakers, and then I can ask them those questions. Again, if you see someone's question, you want to upvote it, make sure it gets asked, click that little upvote, thumbs up, just like in social media, the same thing. And then finally, down below where you're viewing on your screen right now, there's a little rectangle. That's where some of the other features are for both downloads and things like that. So firstly, let me go through and give you a bit about Sowmya's background. She has really illustrious technology background. Most recently, she was the Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Customer Officer of 7 Lakes Technology, which we think retail is complex. She was in the oil and gas industry, leading SaaS for that. So talk about major money, $1.2 billion business unit that she was running the product marketing for. She's also been at companies like Deltek. She's been in this space for over 20 years, and she's fluent in 4 languages. So if you'd like to figure out what languages those are, chat her and she will let you know. So without further ado, let's bring on Sowmya, and she will go through some of what parcelLab has figured out works the best for their clients.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. My name is Sowmya Murthy, head of product marketing at parcelLab. And as you just saw, we empower customer experience designers to create personalized post-purchase journeys. And we do that specifically for conversion, engagement, and retention part of the journeys. And we are a global company. We serve over 800 brands, and predominantly the kind of value we deliver is around increasing their top line revenue, decreasing operational cost, and of course, customer loyalty. And the type of brands, if you don't mind, next slide for me. And the type of brands range from home goods to fast fashion to luxury to digital natives or direct to consumers, and those who have a large physical footprint as well. So typically our customers experience results within the first 8 weeks. They're seeing results of revenue 1 to 2% increase, NPS increase of 10 points, and also WISMA inquiries that see results of decrease in 25%. Our customers have projects or web shops somewhere in the neighborhood, ranging from 2 to 4 web shops and 2 to 4 carriers, all the way through 70 plus markets, with some of the markets having 4 to 6 carriers per market. So the level of complexity ranges across the border. Ultimately, what they're driving is the same type of goals you all are when it comes to the post-purchase experience journey. I started by talking about experience designers. While I said that, the functions that the experience designers live in range from e-commerce through to marketing and product and customer experience and logistics and customer support. Post-purchase experience, as you all know, ranges throughout. But the thing that holds all of them in the same category is that at heart, our customers are all designing these experiences. And so we become that integrated hub where customer segmentation details, order details, carrier details are all coming through, that there's a canvas for which all the touch points are organized. And then you can run communication campaigns that drive these revenue goals. Next slide, please. And the second part I wanted to talk about was more around our perspective of what we're seeing in post-purchase experience. And there are 3 ways that we look at it. Just like you, we're all looking at the same headlines, right? And specifically in this time of the year, we are seeing our customers and us zero in on being able to drive out costs. More specifically in this, I've biased the headlines towards returns. We are seeing a lot more focus on returns. And while focusing on that bottom line component, we're also seeing customers want to be able to drive that through personalization in that customer experience piece. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So to look at it from another perspective in the next slide, if you would please, Jill, just thank you. So we looked at it from another angle. If you look at the data coming in from Salesforce and NRF, and we actually conduct our own studies on consumers, the data reflects what I just communicated, which is the third of the buying happens on a repeat purchase, and that is not slowing down. The online purchasing continues. But at the same time, the intensity of the emotional experience, which drives action and behavior, is phenomenally increasing, right? It's 53+% that looks at our customers and you all and makes decision based on their emotional engagement. And what else is that when they have a negative experience, there is a huge tilt of 62% on how they would behave based on their returns experience. So let's look at it in one other angle. In the next slide for me, please. So when you look at this emotional intensity, we break it down into 5 questions that we help our customers respond to. What kind of expectations are the brands setting? So this is a lot to do with the promise date and the buy button. And then there's a whole during the engagement. Is there real-time information in the customer engagement? This is all the way from order confirmation through an entire communication infrastructure of the different touch points that used to live in the back-end database, now is surfaced up as delayed fulfillment touch point, all the way through carrier delays and failed attempts. So to be able to have the richness of those touch points means our customers and you all can engage at every single one of those steps. And of course, being able to do that in a digitized way for returns becomes significantly important. And for returns specifically, easy is a very loaded word. And I know we'll be getting a lot of opportunity throughout the panel to discuss perhaps returns during peak season and what are different possibilities digitizing and self-serve there. So on the next component I wanted to share with you on the next slide is not just an external perspective. I am a researcher at heart, and a big part of what I wanted to share with you today is that you're not alone. We actually spend a lot of time qualitatively and quantitatively identifying where our customers are on that post-purchase customer journey. And when we say customer journey, we actually mean you and our customers, the retail brands. So to begin with, what we started to see when we look at the qualitative metrics we use, we start to see that our brands and our retailer customers are really working on, you could call it 1.0 PPX, but it's regaining control, wanting to move from varied carriers who take away that traffic loss to bringing it back and having embedded experiences within your own web shop. And many of you may already have that. And so in that piece, giving one example of a customer whose order value increased by 60% in doubling down on bringing that returns experience in home, if you will, from all those carriers. 60% average order value increase compared to the outbound order journey they were spending on. So often post-purchase journeying and doubling down on being able to focus on it and regaining control means looking at the prioritization of post-purchase versus a few other priorities there might be on the table. And control also means you're no longer digging through talking to vendors and IT. There's this set of trigger events or library that's available as touch points. This particular customer I'm speaking of is 180 million plus shipments, and we're able to add 5 additional touch points, which actually was part of why they were able to increase that average order value there. Now, control is one aspect. Then we start seeing customers, if I may call it, elevate or graduate into expanding personalization and getting far more creative. Over here, the zone in becomes around repurchase targeting. Now that you have a library of these trigger events and you know, as the e-commerce person or as a support person, you can design experiences without having to reach out to too many other parts of the organization. You can start creating campaigns. Our customers do that. There's a lot of repurchase targeting examples that come to mind as high CLV value. A baby segment might be a highly profitable segment and one of our customers. And so they're able to double down and do offerings and campaigns around that. There may be some live products, stock availability, live options in the returns process that then reduces the cost of returns because they can see what they're able to get in exchange for, as 2 specific examples. And of course, there's things like unsuccessful shipments that are very specific to your industry and may have to do with some complex custom border crossings. And if that's that specific and nuanced, you should still be able to campaign and reduce that churn and that friction and cost by being able to target them and campaign documentations for them. So there's a lot of creativity. And then what happens to our customers as we see them, and this ranges across the border, is they want to start self-serving. So we see customers in their journey being able to build their own campaigning. So they, within 30 minutes to an hour, they're able to build a target audience because everything is now served up in the canvas. And they're then able to develop campaigns within the hour, everything from mobile app adoptions to exchange programs specific to maybe VIP customers that you have, and also being able to influence with real-time chatbots and other up-leveling type of technology. So what we see is there's a level of graduation along the way, and what we do is make sure we support the customers in that particular journey along the way. What I wanted to do was leave you with the next set of slides, very specific focus, because what my department does is a lot of research. We've taken the time to look at 10 dimensions. 5 of them you're looking at right now, what we call the cost of reducing cost of returns. There are 5 dimensions or frictions that we have codified and also looked at specific examples of our customers and how they go about solving internally for eligibility requirements, segmentation flexibility, and also the risk of setting up a returns process, integration of non-standard data and privacy, right? Things that get business owners quagmired into technology issues. How do they solve for that specifically? And in the next slide, there are 5 other dimensions that we've researched and put very specific customer case studies around. Once you're able to do the internal setup, the frictions that we solve and that our customers are solving from a consumer's perspective. So what happens when you come from off-brand to on-brand embedded experiences? So what happens when your consumer becomes self-empowered and it doesn't have to always call the CS agent? And also a series of tactics, and maybe during the panel I'll be able to share some of them, of really missed opportunities now, revenue opportunities that now our customers are driving campaigns. And how do you then plug all of that online consumer experience to the CS agents and remove the complexity around document sharing, label printing, and things like that that usually get consumers less likely to return. And so all of these 5 to 10 friction points put together. In the next slide, I've created a QR code for you. We've detailed and researched friction points, practical solutions our customers are using, and actual real-life examples and the kind of results they've gained across these 10 dimensions or frictions. So please either access this PowerPoint, and we'll keep the slide on for a few more seconds. And this is an offering from us to you on different, very specific examples in your industry that you'd be able to take back and apply to perhaps your returns experience. Thank you so much, Jill.
All right, let's go to polls. All right, Alan, if you're in the background ready to go, we can click through to that. But what we're going to do now is these quick polls to tell us where that we should really focus our retail panel. So firstly, today, which of these does your company do once a customer purchases something online? Please select as many as apply. So I'm betting every single one of you is doing A, operational emails. You're sending an email for order and shipping confirms. B is text message order confirmation. Of course, if the customer's opted in. C, text message shipping updates. D, request a rating or review of the product or the experience that they purchased. E, request to share their experience on social. F, you send upsell offers, potentially cross-sell, but somewhat personalized and somewhat specific to their purchase. G, you explain how to exchange or return in an unsolicited format. Or H, do you do something else? Do you send product information? Do you send content? What else do you send to them? You can just kind of chat that into the open box. All right. Okay, so as we expected, about 100% of you are doing A, B, and C. Then we have D, E, and F at around 40%. F is much, much smaller. G, not as much. And now I'm going over to the chat real quick. We see nobody is telling me what else you're doing. All right. Well, maybe you're doing something else, but you're not telling me yet. All right. We're going to go to the next poll. What is your average e-commerce return rate? Is it 0 to 5%? Is it 5 to 10%? 5.1 to 10, I guess, to be very, very specific. Is it 10 to 15? 15 to 20? Do you not accept returns? Potentially you're a florist. Potentially you are in the food beverage industry or other. Please, again, explain in the chat over on your right-hand side of the big marker screen. All right, average return rates, they were 10 to 15%. Okay, question 3. Now, this is going to pertain to the webinar that is coming up in 2 weeks. And again, this just helps us create the content a little more specifically for the audience who attends. How are you rating your own personalization of your e-commerce site? Is it excellent, You deliver a bespoke experience for all the key customer segments. Good, important aspects of site. C, getting started. We have some personalization, but you're not there yet. You're not completely happy with it. Or D, needs work. There's not personalization on the e-commerce site currently. All right. Please just choose one. All right. The majority of the answers for question 3. Oh, it's jumped up. About 60% of you are saying getting started. So we have some personalization, but not nearly enough. Well, you should probably tune in then in 2 weeks, and you will learn more from the 5 different speakers that we will have there. So the way we shaped today's panel, and I'm happy it worked out the way we wanted, is to have retailers from kind of different segments come on and talk through not only their returns experience, but also their post-purchase experience. So I'm really excited to bring on both Rick Egan and Colleen Waters. So again, everyone who is watching, please, if anything sparks your interest, please type in a quick question for any of the speakers today, and we will try to get to those towards, if they come up midway, I'll jump in. If not, we'll share them towards the end. But let's start by having you guys both introduce yourself. Colleen, I'd love for you to start.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Colleen Waters. I'm the Senior Director of E-commerce here at Steve Madden, which includes Steve Madden, but also 4 other US D2C brands. So in addition to Madden, I also oversee Dolce Vita, Betsy Johnson, Greats, and Blondo.
Love it. And Rick?
Hi, I'm the Rick Egan, VP of Performance Marketing at Bed Bath & Beyond, formerly Overstock.com. So we recently went through a rebranding, brand migration that we do. And so I head up a lot of our acquisition programs. So post-purchase and returns are definitely a big part in helping the efficiency of those programs and making them run better. So it's an important piece for me.
Love it. And for those of you who weren't familiar with Overstock, you should be, but they ship just about everything. I feel like you sell maybe every category. I don't know about auto, but I mean, from jewelry to, breakables to furniture to rare pieces. So there's quite a breadth of items there that you have to kind of follow up on. So let's jump into our questions that we have prepared together. So looking at the context of just general post-purchase satisfaction and returns management, what strategies have you found to be the most effective in improving the overall customer experience for e-commerce specifically? I think, Colleen, I'll start with you for this question.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is just removing any and all friction points that you can to really meet the customer where they are, make it as convenient as possible. We keep hearing Gen Z doesn't really do email, so maybe that's texting them their thank you with their tracking data instead of emailing it. A lot of households don't have printers anymore. So is it a QR code that can be scanned when they drop off the return to a shipping provider? If you're a company that provides shipping labels in your packaging, can they schedule it to be picked up straight from their home? I know as a consumer, that's my favorite route. If I don't even have to take the package and I can just have it at the mailbox, I'm sold.
Totally agree. My mail person does not agree, but I agree. I gratefully agree. Rick, what do you think has kind of been the most successful overall strategy or technique that you guys have looked at to improve customer experience here?
So I mean, we do a lot of measurement and really look at those pieces to measure it. I think we have some unique challenges in what we do. As you said, we sell a lot of large items, and so we sell a lot of our large items. They ship LTL. They do not have the same predictability of arrival for customers, as well as there are returns challenges with a large item and how you do that versus some other things. So we do a lot of work to really communicate along the process, either through email or SMS, so that customers know when products are going to arrive. Because if you're having a large item that might take 7 to 10 days to arrive, arriving early or arriving late can be a real problem for you, because you may need to be there. You may need to figure out how to bring it in your home. You may need to, if it's heavy, you may need to arrange to have people to help you do it. So I think communication, I would say, has been the most important thing for us, where we have a lot of success, and being able to predict those days when it is going to arrive and have some accuracy around that, and regularly communicate to the customers so they know when it's going to be there.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point. I have a dishwasher coming, and for whatever reason, I did not buy it from Overstock, and I have no idea when it's coming. It may or may not be sitting out in the rain for a few days. So real life pain point. So this next question is going to be for all three of you. Can you guys think of real world examples where your company has successfully personalized, optimized this kind of post-purchase experience? So first, what was that? What are those examples? And then can you give some kind of estimates or KPIs or numbers around what kind of results you saw with that? Kind of a before and after. I'm happy for anyone to start here. You can jump in.
Cool.
All right, Colleen, I'll go to you first again.
One thing for us post-purchase that we've really been leaning into is integrating outfitting into that post-purchase flow. Yeah. Everyone thinks of us for shoes, but we are a whole lifestyle brand. We sell clothing, we sell handbags. So really being able to show them how to build head-to-toe looks around the item that they bought, I think it gets them excited about their purchase, but hopefully it also, inspires them to come back for the bag or the dress for purchase number 2. I think especially when it's a time of price sensitivity, student loans start back up this month, everything kind of going on at a macro level, they may not be able to increase that basket size in the same purchase. So that post-purchase engagement is really key to keep them coming back. And we've been able to improve our returning customer rate this year since integrating that in, which has been really exciting.
Oh, okay. And that's the online experience, right?
Yes.
Excellent. What about the in-store? Is there anything you guys do there from a post-purchase experience? I know sometimes there are the surveys on the receipt and things. Do you do anything else there?
Yeah, we're trying to kind of get a higher view of both. We're kind of at a place where we focused this year on integrating the store data into our larger view of things, so we can get that in-store online connectivity, know who they are, to be able to contact them after has been big. And even thinking outside of our direct stores, like Dolce Vita, for example, we have one owned store here in New York. So it's still an online experience, but we just launched this past week, so I don't have data to share yet. But the ability for customers to be able to place a BOPUS order for a wholesale partner that we also sell at. So if they need the shoe that day, we can do that. But then we want to make sure we capture their email so that we still can, all the BOPUS flow is going to come from whoever the wholesale partner is, but we want to be able to check in with them afterwards still. And they came to us direct initially, so we want to make sure we can keep that communication going.
That's a really interesting flow on the back end. I love that.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have any kind of specific real world examples of any personalization or kind of targeting you've done here?
So we do a lot of those types of things. I think kind of standard things. If we go back to the poll, I think we do 9 of the 10. So we are doing quite a bit of that. I think where a lot of our focus has been over the last year has actually been more in the post-purchase side, has been on the return side. Because of those large items, it is difficult. Like you just can't repackage up, your armoire and take it down to the UPS store and drop it off. So what do you do if what you got you don't want or anything like that? So we're piloting several programs with that, both where there are drop-off locations for people to do things, and then we're also going to be rolling out a service-based approach as well, where we can actually have people come and pick those items up for you. So I think that's
Huge.
a lot of that. And then we're also looking, we're then from a personalization or just a shopping standpoint, we'll probably be rolling out something around shop the room too. So that, I think that's a big part of from a home purchase is you typically purchase one item, but you get it in and then you're constantly kind of having to go back and restart the process. So just really trying to do things like that to make it as easy for the customer to not only get the primary item they want, but, how do they personalize their, kind of their room so that it really kind of matches and gives off the vibe they're really looking for.
Well, and that's got to make the conversion maybe a little bit easier as well. Confirming, letting them know ahead of time. If you don't like it, there's a way, to fix it, but also letting them see it in their room. And, there's a white bookcase. Yeah. How is it going to look? I mean, that's, it's obviously not for every vertical, but it really could work well for the home department.
Yeah, I think it could be a really fun thing, on your, you've bought that couch in, or the patio set or whatever it may be, and is part of your post-purchase experience. Oh, here's the shop the room, and you're putting their same item back in that, and now they can start say, here's the pillows and the throws and the chair and the side table and all the other things that you would like to do with that.
You can see the scale of how they fit with each other. And a lot of things that you don't necessarily just get on a static screen.
Yeah.
So we have some audience questions coming in. So I'm going to divert from our other questions. So a lot of post-purchase is managed a lot of times at these retail brands by the ops team. And that doesn't always report into the e-com team or the marketing team. How are you getting the teams aligned, or how are you kind of working cross-functionally to make this, a good experience for everyone? I don't know, Rick, do you want to start with that, and then we can go to Colleen or?
Sure, I can start with that. I mean, I think we really try to take a team approach. I mean, there are departments and there's departments within the departments themselves. But at the end of the day, we have a set of company-wide KPIs, and we're all bought into the overall customer experience. So one of the mantras that we have here is customer, customer, customer. So it really, the customer experience is not just any single person, it's really all of our, it's all of our responsibilities. So we work with our partners, and just probably like anybody, you get buy-in on some things, you get compromise, and you've got to fight to be heard from time to time too. So, but we're all coming from the same point of view of we want to delight the customer and deliver an amazing experience for them.
So is it true then the ops team does not report into e-com or marketing? Is that it is a separate team?
Yeah, so we don't actually we're as an e-com only company, we don't actually have an e-com department. So we're kind of a group of equals in a way, where we all kind of stand together and then collaborate as one.
I love that. Okay. Colleen, walk us through kind of the different groups and the reporting structure, how that works at Steve.
Yeah, we do have kind of a warehouse operations team that is separate but very close to our e-com team. So I think, we definitely view them as an extension of the team, and just making sure there's always constant communication both ways. We put a lot of products up for like pre-order or back order if it's really hot and we have more coming in. So it's on us to make sure we're letting the warehouse know we have X amount of orders against this product. It's coming this week. Can you prioritize these? Thinking through what lives in different warehouses. We have the visibility into what do people buy together in the same order that we can help, so we're not shipping a zillion packages to people coming from different places. So I think just staying close and having that knowledge share, making sure they're telling us if they're really backed up at a given point, because we do own kind of that front-facing customer relationship is really important.
All right. Well, this question is definitely for all three panelists. Returns are expensive to a company. So how are you striking a balance between kind of the financial impact on your business and giving customers as much of a hassle-free return experience as you can. Sowmya, do you want to take that first, and then I'll go to Rick and Colleen?
Yeah. So the returns experience, since I came in with that as a major agenda on my topic, just to organize our collective thoughts, the way we help our customers think through it is, number one, the where you're touching them, the touch points becomes actually a challenge, because like that question just said, if the touch points are living the database and operations, connecting back to e-commerce sometimes tend to be difficult, right? So big thing we focus with our customers is, let's get you those touch points surfaced up into an environment that you on the business, or I shouldn't say business, but e-commerce and the marketing and the product side can easily access. So the where should be easy, transparent. The next is who, which our customers are experts at the segmentation. So bringing that and layering it on top and having those segmentation fields not be such a foreign thing, but actually be available along with the test points. So we no longer in the world of like, well, that data sits here, this data sits here. It's actually now segmentation. So you want to build a VIP program, or maybe it's on a spend threshold or the number of purchases. There should be no limits put on the e-commerce. Now, I sound like an activist, but there shouldn't be a limit put on the e-commerce team. So there's the campaigning. And the final piece is the juice, right? Like instant credit. Being able to do resizing guides, that if you've got a resizing issue why people are returning, well, then you may want to banner out a resizing guide. So they're not
return, exchange.
Exactly. And or maybe exchange upsell. So when they're showing up, give them different sizes and colors, man, so they can actually have that experience. So that becomes the juicier part of and then livestock availability, discount exchange. So it just becomes far, I use the word juicy. I'm sure there's a more technical word there, but that juice is only feasible if the touch points we don't limit our customers and folks from having the first two parts. Hopefully that's helpful.
That is. Colleen, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I think knowing why they're returning as early as possible is key, especially if you're seeing a certain product outpace your overall return rate. Sizing is a big one, especially buying online. So if you're seeing a pattern, being able to add like a fit tip or something to get ahead of it as much as possible, kind of showing that size scale to the customer up front. And then, anytime an exchange can be offered, that's a win, especially if you get them back in store. Maybe they see something else they love too. But I think that instant credit piece is big, other incentives to make sure that money stays with you. So, maybe a customer bought on their credit card, but they're willing to accept a gift card instead of refunding their original form of payment. To make that kind of a sweeter deal, maybe you add 10% of their original purchase onto the gift card, knowing that when a customer has a gift card, they're spending more typically than the gift card is worth. So I think tricks like that to kind of keep that money cycling with you helps.
I love that. Rick, anything to add, or have they answered for you?
I think the one thing to add is we've rolled free returns into our loyalty program. So that's the way we've done it. So for, you buy a new house, you're going to be buying a lot of, home items over the next, probably several years. Then gives you that kind of peace of mind that you can purchase more items. The loyalty program, if you choose the paid portion, it's just a nominal $29 a year, so it's relatively affordable, and then you have the freedom to shop. And when things don't fit, you don't like it, or it doesn't come across as you think, it makes the return process very easy and frictionless.
Love that. That was one of I don't know if you guys read Retail Brew today. That was one of the main 3 articles today. Was essentially what's happening with free returns. How is that changing? Is it going into the loyalty program? Is it a perk now to have that? Is sustainability enough of a hook to get people not to return things or things like that? So it was a It's a really interesting article today, if anyone hasn't read that yet. All right, so I'm going to go on to our next question, which is a lot about personalization, foreshadowing the webinar in 2 weeks. But can you guys share some insights how you are tailoring the post-purchase experience for loyalty specifically? How do you get the insights? Is it qualitative? Is it quantitative? Is it based on kind of brand ethos? And then results again. So how are you tailoring that post-purchase specifically for loyalty? So Rick already kind of started us off there with offering free returns for, part of the loyalty program. Colleen, are you guys doing anything at Steve with that?
Yeah, we're not super down the personalization line in regards to it, to be honest, but very similarly, like members of our loyalty program do get free returns. Not everybody else does unless they bring them into store, then it's always free. But I think there's things that you can tweak in the flow if they're a first time buyer, making sure you check in on them and how their experience was. A lot of brands do like bounce back offers, really great. You get the confirmation and you earn style bucks or whatever it might be to come back again. So I think depending on the type of customer, there's different levels there to pool. Mentioned already, but we really integrate those outfitting and product recommendations to get the customer to build their closet with us. So that's kind of the extent there. But I do think it's important too to check in post returns. Like we get surveys and follow-ups from brands all the time. Rate your experience, leave a review for the product. I think service industries do a really good job of like reaching out post, but I think with returns doesn't really happen a lot in the retail space. So I think small things like that go a long way.
Absolutely does. All right. I have a question, an audience question from Simon. Has parcelLab or any panelists, you been able to isolate the post-purchase impact on Net Promoter Score? So therefore you could extrapolate, could it help get some more, funding for post-purchase improvements, things like that? I think, Sowmya, that might start with you would be best.
Yeah, happy to. I like to use an example so it can ground this question. More often than not, the NPS impact is rolled into one of the value metrics often when customers purchase parcelLab. So I'm thinking of one particular customer, North America based, 12 million orders or so. They have about 4 brands and they're omni-channel with stores. They had, because of their omni-channel strategy, they had a poor customer experience and an issue that they were dealing with and a previous vendor challenge. So they wanted to be able to get their consumers more to self-serve. And what they did was embedded tracking and be able to do more adaptive order typing and proactive way to pre-ship emails and do warehouse alerting and also do very specific VIP program type campaigns that we just mentioned. Now, when they first moved onto our platform, the results were heavy lifted on, you can imagine, because they're getting traffic that was previously not allowed. So we saw what seemed insane at first, but it's our customers who claimed 340% increase in sessions because we're finally there. But it was also combined with 7 points increase in their NPS. And so it's that combination of NPS is not superfluous. It actually is connected to, you want more of my business, I like you, and here I am, and here's how you are, here's how you interact with me, and showing. So what this particular chief digital officer was able to show is these metrics don't just live by themselves. Right. They actually are connected. And if you show how they're interconnected, you can show the web sessions along with, they stopped calling us as much, so your WSMO goes, and your NPS. They don't live in separate worlds. Our customer doesn't, they're not chopped up. They're one person and their experience. So if that helps. So yeah, NPS is definitely held in.
Not only did NPS go up, but then probably the cost went down. They're not calling, they're not, they're not canceling.
And Rick and Colleen, you relate to that, right? It's not this one that sits out there. It's completely interrelated.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. All right. Well, there's something to think about for all the people listening in as well, of potentially isolating a group of people who you're personalizing for to see if this can really impact NPS, especially with peak coming up. So, all right, let me get to the next question. As the e-commerce landscape is changing so quickly. So are there trends or technologies, we can't get through a webinar without saying AI or generative AI. Are there any technologies that you think are going to play a significant role in returns management or post-purchase satisfaction? And are you doing anything to kind of get ready for those? And, frankly, a technology could be that Amazon Prime is seen as somewhat of an industry standard right now, 2 days. I mean, that might be a technology we could argue here. What are you guys doing to either combat that or, create value in a different category for it?
I think so. One of the things that we do is we can't match Amazon Prime on everything that they do, obviously. But I think two pieces. One, we have badges that we put on items. So where we can kind of meet the standard that they've set, we socialize that to the customer and their shopping journey so that they can see those items that they can get in 1 or 2 day that would match Prime. And then I think the other piece that we found and think is important is really for our larger items, it's the predictability of shipping. So and being able to get that accurate, really being the most kind of a very important thing for customers.
Or being able to hold something for a day if there's a weather issue. Some kind of real-time intelligence, I think is a lot of the work there. Colleen, are there any kind of tech advances or things out there that you guys are trying to react to a bit?
Yeah, I think as we think through personalization and AI and ways we can continue to get smarter, I think there's a lot of opportunity to bring elements that a customer's used to from a store experience online. If they're going through the steps in the return portal and maybe going back to it, the size issue, the sizing was off, maybe we don't have the size they need to exchange for, are there other shoes that we know are available in their size that they might like based on purchase or what other people got, so we can kind of be smarter in saving that sale a bit. And I think just in the post-purchase flow, not necessarily returns related, but with reverse logistics improvements and things, different alternate ways of distribution, allowing customers to trade in products. Maybe they can bring their used product in store for a credit. Or maybe we can start to think of, can we accept a return that's slightly worn? Maybe you don't get your full refund back, but we can then transition that into kind of pre-loved programs. So as we think technology and sustainability, those are some of the things we're playing around with.
I love that. I have a pair of 25-year-old platform sandals. Let's see what kind of deal we can make.
Perfect. You definitely got your cost per wear out of them.
I absolutely did. Oh, that's really funny. Yeah, no, there are a lot of brands now, obviously, trying that, credit program and the, circularity programs and having some real success there.
Speaking of,
go for it. Yeah.
I quickly wanted to mention, while not yet generative, what we're also in the AI space looking to give more predictability around promise dates, which tends to be hotly debated, and personalization. It's a huge value add for our customers around conversion. So our PL promise allows folks to be able to do that predictable and self-configured. That's the most important part, that you as a brand can self-configure those components. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. All right, one final question, then we're going to get to our 2 rapid fires that I'm going to shock you all with, just to make it even more fun. So obviously peak season is right around the corner, is started, some would even argue, this week with Prime Days and many, many mass merchants meeting those kind of deals. Peak return season can be really, really challenging. Do any of you have an innovative idea or approach that you have either tried or are going to try this year to really ensure customer satisfaction? Is it upfront? Is it communication at the back end? I'll start with you, Sowmya.
Yeah, I think, I may have played out some of these cards, so I'll summarize because I threw a lot out there. And I would say that once you're able to look at deeply into the purchase specifics, VIP, the spend threshold, those aspects, you really are able to see, like Colleen also reiterated, you can give them very specific things so you keep the business, right? So if there is instant credit and if there are folks who ought to be treated in a different way, how can you give them more upsell options, discount options, or exchange options? So making sure that the variety and the experienced designers are given those so they can address it by segmentation. So personalizations, I know it's the next one webinar, so I'm killing it for you, Jill, but it really is the name of the game,
It is. Accuracy, it's relevancy, it's all the things we want. So as shoppers. All right. Well, one last question as professionals, and then we're all going to turn into shoppers. So what is your one piece of advice, 15 seconds or less, for the brands listening to help them with their post-purchase with peak coming up? Colleen, I'll start with you, and I won't time you.
No, I think this sounds like a basic one, low-hanging fruit, but all we keep hearing is people are going to start shopping for holiday earlier and earlier. We've heard it the last couple years. I think it's definitely going to be true this year. So just getting ahead of things and extending return windows if they're not giving a gift for 3 months to make sure that, that's still a good experience and not a roadblock for them.
Rick, one piece of advice as a professional in this space?
I'll just repeat what I said earlier of customer, customer, customer. And that holds true from the first time they step foot on your site to the time. It doesn't stop when they receive the product and kind of follows them all the way through their journey that they continue to have with your brand.
Absolutely. Sowmya?
I would say internally, we've been sharing with our customers, we as brands, if I may include myself, should wait for no one because our customers and consumers aren't. So when you said, Colleen talked about low-hanging fruit, those aspects, do not and demand more from your vendors and don't allow them to make you wait, and don't wait for anyone so you can actually start moving at the pace of your consumers.
I love that. All right, last rapid fire. We're shoppers now. We are not professionals anymore. What is your favorite brand to shop and then have the post-purchase / returns experience with? Anyone can go first.
I feel like they're known for their returns, but Nordstrom always makes it so easy.
So easy.
So does Sephora as well.
Sephora, those were my two. Those were my two. And I will tell you, I worked at Nordstrom for a bit of time, and I will tell you some of those stories of how they trained the associates to just, all it is the customer's right, and make it right for the customer. So, Rick, what about you as a shopper? Where do you like to?
I guess if we're talking the whole journey, I got to give Amazon credit.
Yeah.
As a digital only company, they've really nailed that side of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Sowmya, take us home.
I am generationally and otherwise a hybrid. I like the online and internet and going to the stores. Yeah. And I'm a Patagonia girl myself. So you can literally say nothing wrong about that brand for me, from the buying experience through like repairing, and any piece of that experience is
You don't ever have to return because they'll just circulate it. That's a whole nother level.
Thing, yeah.
Different webinar. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Colleen and Rick and Sowmya for being here. Thank you for sitting through any technical difficulties. Would not be 2023 without some small hiccups. So we really appreciate your time. Please email myself or anyone, founders at CommerceNext, or Jill at CommerceNext. If you have ideas, speakers, questions that you want to hear about, we will follow up. If you are interested in getting Sowmya's slides, we can send those out as well. Please email us, again, Jill@CommerceNext. Otherwise, you can download before you go. In the top right, there are those 2 takeaways. So thank you again for your time. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Bye all.
Thank you.